is Tuesday in the 12 o'clock hour. That means my visit with my contributor, Chase Spears, retired Army Major, writes for AmericanMind.org, Real Clear Defense as well. And Chase, there is plenty to get to, that's for sure. Good afternoon.
It has been. Good afternoon, Kristian. Yeah, it's been quite an eventful week in the news cycle. Lots to get after today.
We'll start with, I know it's something you followed closely. I followed it pretty closely. Daniel Penny being found not guilty yesterday in the chokehold murder of Jordan Neely. I talked at length about this yesterday, but I want to give you the floor. I would make the argument emphatically that our justice system prevailed.
This is an outcome that I nod my head in approval to. That said, I'm not celebrating, and here's the reason why. These are charges that never should have been brought, period. I try to place myself there in Daniel Penny's shoes. You're on the subway. You're in an underground moving train. There is a man acting violently and threatening the other passengers. What do? Do you stand by and let an assailant start attacking passengers, or do you intervene? And it's inbred in us, especially guys like you and me and Mr. Penny, who have served in the military, to protect other people. And that's exactly what Daniel Penny did. He stepped in and he protected people from a young man who was clearly very, very troubled. You know, the death of Jordan Neely is sad. I don't celebrate that by any means. But by golly, Daniel Penny did the right thing. He stepped in, he intervened, he protected people. And I think I've told you before about many nights when I would be on the metro in D.C. riding similar paths and going through pretty rough parts of town and wondering on 3 or 4 occasions, is the activity that I'm watching in this train car about to get to where I have to make a decision if I'm going to step in? And Daniel Penny did, and he should have never been put through this. There's this old phrase in Latin America that says, "For my friends, anything. For my enemies, the law." That has come to mind several times as I watched this case. This case should never have been brought. It was acknowledged from the get-go that this case was not truly about whether a man had stepped in and done the right thing, but that it was about social justice and racial justice. And Alvin Bragg made no apology for that. And until he is held accountable, I won't be satisfied.
Very well said. And here's the other just disgusting part of this entire thing. His father, Daniel Penny's father, abandoned him at a very early age, and now he's coming after the money. I mean, he didn't seek to try to help his son get off drugs, get off the streets, but now he's going to come after Daniel, and he's probably going to win some money because, as you know, civil lawsuits the burden of proof is much lower than criminal cases.
Yeah, I did read a report earlier today that it looks like there will be a civil suit. Like you said, the burden of proof is much lower. I certainly hope that the jurors in that case, should that case come to fruition, will look at it and render the same verdict. But at the end of the day, Jordan Neely was a very troubled young man. I mean, he was a known criminal. At my reading, over 40 arrests. Even the autopsy said that he died of a multitude of factors, including schizophrenia, using synthetic marijuana, having an issue with the sickle cell trait. So this was a very complex death, a young man who probably had a very troubled past. And again, a very tragic life, and I'm sad for that. But at the end of the day, what do you want our society to look like? Do you want to live in a society where someone can attack you and everyone else who's standing by who could intervene is afraid to because they think they might go to jail if they do the right thing? Is that the kind of society that we want to live in? I'll tell you, Kristian, that's not the kind of society that I want to live in. And the purpose of the justice system is to reward virtue and restrain evil. And clearly we have Soros-backed prosecutors that don't believe that, and we need to oust them from office post-haste.
Yeah. I mean, just like yesterday after the Daniel Penny trial, Hawk Hawthorne, BLM New York founder, basically said it's time for black people to start killing white people. That's what he said.
Rhetorical question. If you or I got up and said that exact same thing, but about people of another ethnicity, what would happen? Rhetorical question.
We'd be thrown in jail.
It answers itself. Oh, absolutely. And he felt that he could get up there and say that. And you and I both well know that Alvin Bragg will not charge him for inciting public violence. He will not be held accountable. New Yorkers have a decision to make. Do they want to live in a city of anarchy, or do they want to live in a city of law and order? They have a big decision to make.